It's game week 34 in the championship, and I'm here to give my predictions ahead of this game week. And with me, as always, it's my partner in crime. It's the one, the only Mark Ryman. How are we getting on, Mark?
People be relieved to hear there's only one of me. Yeah, I'm all right, mate. Yeah, another week in the championship. Stakes getting higher and higher, and it's really interesting at the top end. It's probably interesting for the neutrals at the bottom end as well. Probably not so much for us, but yeah, I'm all right.
Yeah, Stoke, Cardiff, and Hull fans were watching yesterday's game against Plymouth and Luton with great interest. I've heard it described as two bald men fighting over a comb. Yeah,
That's
I think that
exactly
checks out, doesn't it?
Just about. Yeah, it was what you expect. They always end to draw, don't they, these games? They always do. Whenever anyone says 6-pointer, you can guarantee a draw every single time. So, yeah, they look like two soon-to-be League One clubs, to be perfectly honest.
Indeed, they do. But let's dive straight into these predictions. As always, remember, if you love Championship content, we'll still be doing this next year, even if Luton Town aren't a part of the Championship, which is looking very likely right now. Just remember, subscribe for even more Championship stuff. Right, first up, Bristol City versus Middlesbrough. I've gone 2-1 Borough here. They're on a terrible run of form. It's got to end. 4 straight losses. It has to end.
Oh, we've been saying this about Luton since October.
Yeah, but Borough
yeah,
are decent.
Borough good. Yeah, they're right. Carrick's in trouble, isn't he?
There were rumours that he was gone, wasn't there?
There were, and I think Borough need to look at what's happened to Rob Edwards at Luton before he got the boot in January as well. That there is such a thing as holding on for too long. They have got a very good squad. They have got a very good side. And while Carrick has done some very good things there, if they don't make the playoffs, which is looking more and more likely this season now, you've got to ask yourself, is the manager good enough if you've got a team who are, for me, easily a top 6 team, now hovering at, where are they, 11th in the league. So, I think while it's kind of pointless changing managers right now, they're not going to go down. I think change has to happen over the summer for me. I've gone 2-1 Bristol City for the reasons that you've just said. Borough in terrible form, and I don't see it turning around. Or at least not yet. And Bristol City, while they're a little bit hot and cold, I think at home they'll probably get the better of a very, very poor Borough side.
See, I just don't see that with Bristol City. I honestly look at the table, see them in 8th. I'm like, how the hell have they done that? Yeah, it's madness seeing them up there.
They've had a decent run of fixtures, to be fair to them. And, Bristol City fans will say, well, yeah, but a lot of them are derbies. But, if you look at who they've recently played, they played Cardiff in the last game. They played Stoke at home. They played Swansea, which they actually lost. Oxford. Probably the toughest fixture in their last 5 games has been against Blackburn. They won that game. But, they've had a decent run of fixtures. So it'll be interesting to see whether that carries on now as the fixtures get tougher.
We shall see. We shall see. But right now they're holding on sort of one hand in the playoffs. Right, on to Burnley versus Sheffield Wednesday. I've gone 1-0 Burnley. Burnley yet to concede. Double digits. Mad.
Absolutely mad. Yeah, incredible. Guess what? I've done the same. I mean, it says itself. Although the last 2 games, they drew 0-0 against Preston. But yeah, Burnley at home, you just got to go 1-0, haven't you, really, at the moment? It's they're just not letting in any goals whatsoever, and Sheffield Wednesday tend to concede. So, yeah, 1-0 for me too.
Fair play. And on to, well, all the fans are going to be happy to hear what I'm going to say about this. Coventry City versus Preston North End. Well, they won't be happy because I've predicted a 1-1 draw because Preston are quite tough to beat, aren't they?
They are, yeah. Lost one in the last 5. And that includes games at home to Burnley, obviously in the derby as well, and away at Norwich. So, yeah, they're tough to beat. So you've gone 1-1. I've gone 2-1 Cov. So there you go, balances it out. But I can easily see this being a draw as well. But they found a way to win their last 2 games. I thought their 2-1 away win against Sheffield Wednesday showed some, some real positives as well. So yeah, I've gone for 2-1. I think they've got the players to do it. But you're right, Preston have been really, really solid. Just really difficult to break down.
Yeah, I'll say it. Fair play to Frank Lampard because there's only so far a decent set of players can carry you. I fancy them making the playoffs now. I really do. Yeah,
it could
like we called at the beginning of the season, didn't we?
We did, but then it dragged on for so long, their poor run, didn't it? And obviously they changed their manager early, and even though neither of us thought they should have changed or he should have gone, certainly shouldn't have gone for Frank Lampard. Look at they've proved us wrong. Even if it's just because of a fresh face, it's made the difference. I'm still not convinced by Lampard, but he's doing a good job.
Yeah, he's definitely backed up by players hitting form and doing well. He's got the best out of Ellis Sims. Ellis Sims looks back to his best. He does indeed. Right, on to Derby County versus Millwall.
I have gone 1-1. This has got a draw written all over it for me. I think Derby have got a couple of draws in their last 3 games before they got hammered on Friday night last week to QPR. I didn't see that coming, by the way. I don't know whether you did. I really didn't see that coming. But I think this is going to be a draw. I think Millwall, again, their last 2 results have been a 1-1. But when you look at who they're playing, at home to West Brom, away to Preston, as we've just said, don't lose, then it's not the end of the world. They won their 2 games prior to that as well. So, yeah, I've gone for a 1-1. I think this will be a nervy / quite dull game with an early kickoff. Derby just need to get some points on the board desperately. But at the moment, they're really struggling in front of goal. Like a lot of the teams down there, they barely scored a goal in their last 5 games. And Millwall aren't prolific either. So, yeah, that's my justification for it. I think it'll be a nervy 1-1.
Well, Millwall have a tremendous player in Ivanovic. I really rate him.
Yeah,
he's been vital alongside Jake Cooper. I mean, he doesn't play alongside Jake Cooper, being a centre-back. Ivanovic has been quite prolific and a good striker for them, notching at least 1 like in every other game. He's been good. But for this, I've gone Derby County 1, Millwall 0. Mainly because I think John Eustace has had a bit more time to work with Derby, so we won't see another 4-0 capitulation like we did against QPR. But points are at a premium now, and I feel Millwall, they're sort of, after those 3 back-to-back-to-back wins, I feel they're probably on a little bit of a downslide now, but they've done enough to be safe from the relegation threat. Onto another team that has a tinge of threat of relegation. It's Norwich versus Stoke City. I've gone for a 1-1 here.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fair prediction. I think, for me, Norwich are going to win this at home. And as you said, Stoke certainly aren't safe. 2-0 for me. I've gone for this one. Great result for Stoke against Swansea. I think, away from home at Norwich, it's a different story. I'm still not convinced completely that Stoke are safe. And even though I'm not completely convinced by Norwich either, I think at home they'll take the points. They've got the players to do so, and I think they've got most of their danger men back now, right? Apart from Marcondes, who I think is out.
But great squads, and Josh Sargent, he's been He's been banging form, I think 5 in 5 or 4
something
in 4.
like that.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, something
he's
like
been
that. He's
properly
scoring
on
in
it.
every game. Yeah,
Fair play to him. Right, on to Plymouth Argyle versus Cardiff City, and this one is a 6-pointer, as they call it. So, as you said before, when you're expecting a 6-pointer,
draw. Nice. Yeah.
I've gone for a 0-0.
Yeah, we are desperate for this to be a 0-0. Yeah, I've
Can
gone
both
for a
teams
1-1.
lose?
Yeah, that'd be lovely. Yeah, I've gone for a 1-1. So yeah, I think we'll both end up saying the same thing. I mean, Plymouth obviously after their mad run where they beat Liverpool, and then smashed Millwall 5-1, got brought back down to earth against Blackburn, didn't they? I thought against Luton it's interesting. I think Luton obviously had the vast majority of the attacking play in that game, but Plymouth had a perfectly good goal ruled out for offside that wasn't offside. And I think if you're Plymouth, you'd look at that defensive display in the first half, and if that goal was allowed to stand, that one sort of counter-attack, you'd probably say that is the perfect away from home performance in that situation. So I think they did really, really well in lots of elements and the important stuff in that game. You think how poor they were defensively under Rooney. It's a completely different story now. And if they can keep things that tight, we know they've got the ability to score goals still as well. I think they could be all right. Having said that, their overall play, giving the ball away too easily to Luton as well, against a better side would have got punished. 1-1, probably more out of hope than anything else.
I think that's very bold, predicting both teams to score. Right, on to another team in the relegation battle. It's Portsmouth versus QPR.
Yeah, so I've gone Pompey 2-0. I don't know why, really. I think this is just more kind of a feeling, although they have won their last 2 games and scored 2 goals in both of them.
Against Oxford and Cardiff, 2 teams that are in bad form at the moment.
Yeah, that's true, but Pompey are as well. And 2-0 away from home at Oxford as well. I think keeping the clean sheet is probably the most impressive part of that. So, you've got to give it to them. They've still got a long injury list, and yet they're still pulling the results out that keep them keeping the relegation zone at arm and legs length probably at this point. So I think QPR are hit and miss a bit at the moment. Very convincing result against Derby, but as you say, it wasn't really John Eustace's Derby. He was in the dugout, but that's it. But yeah, I think at home, I think Pompey will win this 2-0 just to kind of cement their safety.
Yeah, I've gone 2-1 QPR. I do think QPR's playoff hopes are pretty much gone, although they're only 4 points off the playoffs right now. But they've sort of hit that streaky run of form, that amazing crest of a wave that swept them off the bottom of the table into mid-table, even into the top half of the table, has sort of fallen off a little bit now. But I think there could be a bit more, especially after, off the back of that amazing 4-0 win, that could have a good vibe about it for the squad. So yeah, I think they'll probably have enough to take to Portsmouth and put them to the sword, especially as Portsmouth near the bottom. Yeah, it could be one of those, especially they might have taken their eye off the relegation battle, considering there's a little bit of a buffer now between them and 20th place Cardiff. So, if they do get lax in that, then they could get punished. And I think they will get punished by QPR. Right, West Brom versus Oxford United. I've gone 2-0 West Brom. I'm feeling Mowbray to cut that streakiness out. And Oxford, they're not in the best place right now after a tremendous run of form under Gary Rowett. The wheels have sort of come off a little bit, but fortunately they're safe from relegation pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. What a wonderful start. And now they haven't picked up a win in, 6 games or something. I've gone for a 2-1 West Brom win for pretty much the same reason. West Brom have looked far from convincing. But they sort of stabilised, I'd say, is maybe the best word for it. they'll be far too strong for Oxford for me at home, who just, again, struggling to find the back of the net of late. So, yeah, 2-1. Maybe the one was a bit generous, but yeah, 2-1.
All in all, it's been a pretty good first season in the Championship for
Yeah.
Oxford. Never really been in the mire of relegation. They changed manager at the right time, and fair play to them.
Absolutely.
Fair play to them and their three-sided stadium. Right, next up, Sunderland versus Hull City. I've gone 2-0 Sunderland here. Genuinely think Sunderland are strong, and they create chances. They're a real threat. And Hull, a lot of huff and puff, a lot of changes, a lot of good play from Ruben Sellers' team, but I just don't think there's enough there, especially going to the Stadium of Light.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I've gone for the same score. I've gone for 2-0. I've gone for the same scoreline. My slight worry with Sunderland, sort of wider, bigger picture than this game, is there's always that team, isn't there, that is pushing the top two. A bit like Borough were a couple of years ago, you could argue. Slightly different last season with Southampton and Leeds because they were so far above the rest of them. But I feel like with Sunderland, like as the top two go further and further away, the momentum from Sunderland drifts a bit. And even though I think they only just lost to Leeds the
that
last
was cruel,
minute,
wasn't it?
Really cruel. Yeah, of course. But regardless, that result, is going to have a big impact. I just wonder how they'll get on. And on paper, obviously they are, for me at least, the team to beat in the playoffs, more so than Burnley.
Oh, yeah. I absolutely agree with you.
Yeah.
But it's almost as if someone said Sunderland are going to run out of steam. I wonder who predicted that.
Well, yeah.
It's not to take anything away from what Sunderland have done.
Not
They've
at
been
all.
Tremendous, like a real breath of fresh air, the way they've been playing. And I agree with you. They will be the team to beat in the playoff.
They will be. I just worry for them slightly. That's always a very difficult mentality to have, that you had that kind of almost, you're pushing for the top two, and when that stops becoming a reality, how do you deal with it? I mean, when Borough were in that position, they rested players, they changed their squad round, they ended up then, as a result of that, started to lose games and doing poorly, and that momentum they couldn't shift again for the playoffs, and obviously ultimately lost to Coventry in the semi-finals. So it will be interesting to see how Libris deals with it. It really will.
That's a great point. That is a great point. Like the momentum, you got to keep the momentum going. You got to keep your foot down on the pedal, because otherwise you can't. You can't get it back again. No, you can't. Right, Swansea versus Blackburn Rovers. I've gone for a Eustaceless 1-0 away win for Blackburn Rovers here. Swansea bang in trouble now. Luke Williams is gone. Alan Sheehan, former Luton player, in interim charge. And I think Swansea are in danger now of getting sucked into it all, aren't they?
They're going down for me. I think they'll finish in 22nd.
Proclamation! Swansea are going down.
I said it about Millwall. I've said it about Blackburn. So, take that as you will at some point. But yeah, I really do think they're circling the drain with that situation. Luke Williams gone. Look, as a Luton fan, we all love Sheehan. I think, though, he has been given an absolutely impossible task at Swansea. It's a mess at the moment, isn't it? Yeah, and I promise, by the way, Ollie and I have not seen each other's predictions, because I predicted the same thing. Swansea 0, Blackburn 1. Again, I think Blackburn have started to turn the tide back around their last couple of games as well. But I think, they'll be too strong for Swansea, who, they'll probably win this 4-0 now. I've said all of that. But I really do think they're gonna drop like a stone.
Yeah. Well, Swansea don't lose too massively, but they're defensively all right, aren't they? And right, on to the Sunday fixtures. Watford versus Luton Town. I just want to rip the Band-Aid off. I've gone 3-1 Watford.
Yeah.
Yeah. Always comes.
Yeah. I've gone 1-1 based purely only on the fact that it is impossible for me to predict anything. A Watford win in the derby in this, I'm afraid. We are neutrals, of course, for this, but I still can't do it. But if I was to be less of a Luton fan, I would say that Watford, despite their horrendous run of form, offer a lot more in front of goal. Chatfatadze, who was probably their only good player in the reverse of this fixture, has gone from strength to strength. Loser back in the fold, an important player for them as well. Quado Bar not playing is good news for Luton, but I still think it will be a massive struggle for Luton, who just cannot score. They need to be camped in the opposition penalty box for about 25 minutes straight and hope
Even
the
then
ball
it's
just
not guaranteed,
cannons into the net. Exactly
Yeah.
that. We just sort of bang the ball in and hope has been the situation. I mean, we've got strikers 4 yards from goal. We had two chances, one for Elijah Adebayo and one for Jacob Brown, both of which were about 4 yards from goal, and both of which didn't result in a goal. One was off target. So that's the situation. There's just not enough of the Luton Town team up for the fight, and I don't know whether Matt Bloomfield has got the experience to deal with a relegation scrap in the Championship.
No, nor the prima donnas in the Luton Town squad right now. I don't want to talk about it anymore, but you know what? We've done a match preview.
We did.
I'll stick it in the description below if you want to hear us talking about it.
It's not cheery.
No.
It's not cheery.
Right, on to the final game, the game week, Monday night. It's Sheffield United versus Leeds, and this is a proper ding-dong. Both teams coming into it 4 wins on the spin apiece. You have Leeds playing with grace, beauty. They're tremendous. Then you have the blunt object of Sheffield United, just Chris Wilder throwing big rocks through people's windows and getting results. I've got 0-0.
Yeah, I mean, that's the sensible option, isn't it, to go for the draw in this game, particularly with Sheffield United at home. I think Leeds will have too much for them. I think I'm going to go 2-1 Leeds. It's the first time I predicted Sheffield United to lose at home. And it would be a massive loss. Would it only be their second home loss after that Hull City result? I'm not sure.
Yes, it would be.
So, it would be massive. I think they've got too much of them. And look, Sheffield United have managed to get results from games, arguably, that you don't know how they've come around. I mean, that 1-0 win against Luton, Luton doing brilliantly and dominating most of that game, but Sheffield United getting 1 or 2 opportunities and taking them. But I think that Leeds attack is too good for any team in this league. I think
it's pretty good. 68 goals scored this season.
It's crazy,
and
isn't it?
But both teams with rather miserly defences, like not as miserly as Burnley, but they're both very good defences. Although Sheffield United's defence has gotten a little bit worse since Harry Souttar's been injured. But Chris Wilder, he's a wily operator. He'll park the bus. He'll go through the back.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. I mean, I look at Leeds' results: 2-1 Sunderland, 4-0 against Watford. They beat Coventry 2-0, and they beat Cardiff 7-0 in the league. So they've conceded 1 goal in their last 4 league games. I know they lost to Millwall. I think that was in the cup, wasn't it? It's crazy. 2-1. But you're probably right. It'll be 0-0 Monday night. But yeah, I think they might sneak this one.
Maybe. But anyway, as always, we're going to put all the fixtures in the comments below. Copy, paste, get your predictions in. We love to read them. And remember, subscribe. If you're not already subscribed and you're still watching, hit the subscribe button. Lots of Championship content. And, whoever you support, have a great week.